Extinction, except for like Noah J. Other than that, let's get started. I'm just gonna speed through these, not waste your time, and explain why I like these maps and why they're in the place they are. So we're not gonna do it in a random order. Like, I'm not gonna close my eyes, randomly pick one. We're just gonna do it from this to the bottom. Starting with Origins. Origins Chronicles Edition. Honestly, this is S. Origins is S. Where's the original Origins too? Am I blind? Original Origins is S2. Just think of both. Pretty much I'm gonna rank both together anyways all the time. So if Origins comes back later in the list, we're gonna just put it right next to the original one. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Origins is an easy S tier. This is one of the greatest maps of BO2, honestly, and is, in my opinion, what saved zombies from absolute destruction. It was already on a downgraded hill, especially since BO1 is my favorite zombies of all time, so coming in BO2 was a rough start. Transit was fucking unbelievably bad. It was just fucking really bad. I couldn't believe how bad it was. And then we got Die Rise, which, you know, didn't help either. Nuketown Zombies was a bonus map. You know, it just wasn't hitting the quota of what fantastic maps like BO1 had. And I was getting kind of sad, depressed even. Stopped wanting to play zombies. And then Mob of the Dead and Origins came out, which kind of saved it for me. And we got great zombies maps after this. So this is, of all time, of course, one of the GOATs and one of the greatest finales to a map. For sure, Origins deserves the S tier. Iconic, great replayability, still fun to this day, still one of the best maps. Alright. Hopefully most people agree with that. If you don't, I don't know where you're coming from or why you play zombies, but let's keep it going. Verruckt. Oh, wow, they're both right next to each other. Okay, well, this should be an easy D tier. Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate if you love World at War, but Verruckt is definitely my least favorite World at War map. It is not really replayable at all. Unfortunately, it's just not very good. It's very sad to say, but it is my least favorite. I hate the layout. The weapons are okay. It doesn't really even matter which one you're playing, even. To be honest, for me, I do love the upgraded graphics on Chronicles maps, but if I never really liked the original map, there's no really point to play Chronicles. It just has BO3 weapons instead of the World at War weapons or BO1 weapons, and they're so and therefore, so it doesn't really change my spot for me. It's a lackluster, not bad, terrible map, just very lackluster. Not average, just D. Alright, Ancient Evil. Woo, now we're getting some good maps. This is arguably the top of A tier, almost S tier for me. This is really what made me think, wow, BO4 had a lot of great ideas for zombies. And I honestly do think BO4 is hated a lot for some reason. I know it came after BO3, so the expectations were a bit too high for all of BO4, and unfortunately it fell flat, especially because of production and Easter egg stuff, and you know the whole deal. None of that stuff really mattered because Ancient Evil is one of the most polished and fantastic maps. The setting is beautiful on this map. Like, if you haven't seen gameplay for this map, I highly suggest, if you're never gonna try it, please try it or watch gameplay videos on this map. The wonder weapons are fantastic. I love the gauntlets, even though people are like, more elemental weapons? Gross, bro. They're just copying off of Origin. I honestly think this is one of the best unique twists on the four, wonder weapon elements. And it's so cool how you upgrade them. It's such a blast to play this map. Boss fight is fantastic. One of the best boss fights. Unfortunately, it's just BO4 gets so much hate that most people do not unfortunately know about it. And it has the coolest shield, I think, out of all the games. But that's my opinion. Ancient Evil is very close to S tier. It is such a fantastic map. You should try it out. The Final Reich. So this is the World War II First Zombies map. And I'm also probably going to get a lot of hate for this. I think it's very lackluster. Not even average. Now that might surprise people, especially since World War II, the Final Reich, is clearly the best one. I will acknowledge that. The Final Reich is definitely, I think, over Verruckt. Obviously, I should put it here. It's almost the C tier average map, but it just hits the nail so far away. The Juggernaut system in this map was awful. The Easter egg was way too easy and also not really rewarding. I don't like custom specialist zombie characters, because that's kind of like what Cold War does, and it's kind of where it started, of having unlockable characters that have weird quotes and stuff, and even the main 4 characters were a bit lackluster, and the map was just okay. Like, there wasn't much about Final Reich that unfortunately gave it a boost to even average. For me, I rarely come back to this and play it. Unfortunately, it's getting a D tier. Now, Bus Tipo, is this different from Transit? Yes, it is. So this is the mini-map Bus Tipo that you play. Well, this will probably surprise you, but this is an easy F tier. I do not like Bus Depot at all. It is by far one of the worst mini-maps I think of all time. I hate this shit. This is terrible. There is no reason to play it at all, unless you like really suck at zombies. This is like a practice range firing range mode, because you buy 2 doors and you just train, run around, hit the box, and that's it. Unfortunately, it's not even fun doing that, because I do like casual maps like this where you run around, pack, and just try and go for high rounds. Because you can see Kino's coming up, and you might be surprised where it goes, but let's just carry on. I just don't think Bus Depot added a lot of content compared to the other mini-maps, unfortunately, so it just falls really flat. Like, just there's no ever reason to go to Bus Depot. It's just very bad. Not only that, there wasn't even grief mode on this, or any type of special mode to even give it a little bit of extra content. So for me, it's an easy F tier, unfortunately. Mob of the Dead. I don't even have to explain, right, guys? This is one of the greatest maps of all time. And where does Mob go? Does it go ahead of Origins, or is it second? I think Mob is easily the best map in Zombies history. And some people are probably going to be surprised or disagree with that statement. Oh, it's DE or Origins, but I honestly do think Mob of the Dead is the best. And now that it's here, you probably won't see this one ever move. I do honestly think it's one of the GOATs. And thinking of GOAT maps, oh god, here we go. I'm going to get a bunch of hate for this one. I do think Chino Newtown is an easy S tier. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put it over Origins. I'm not. It just is not going to happen. It won't go there. But honestly, in terms of just what Zombies is today, I honestly do believe if Chino never existed, we wouldn't have gotten half the fun things that come after BO1. That's my opinion. That's my honest opinion. If we never had Chino, we would never learn how to train, we'd never have fun upgrading weapons and having special cool abilities on weapons you'd never think before, and weapons completely changing when packed, mini rounds like the Hellhounds or the... You know, it's just one of the best. I honestly do think that. Der Eisendrache. Now, I do think Der Eisendrache is a bit overhyped, but still, even saying that, it's still an S tier. Der Eisen obviously is one of the most fan-favorite YouTube Zombies maps of all times. Even as a casual player, this still has the most, like, players in the playlist, other than Shadows of Evil, obviously, because that is the default map. But Der Eisen is the second, I believe, most players playing most of the time. Everyone likes this map. It's an easy casual Origins, so if you want like to play Origins and have less the hassle, most people go to Horizon. Now, obviously, where is it behind or above Chino? I do think it's above Chino. Is it above Origins? Now, this is the question you're probably thinking and want the juicy answer to. I honestly do believe Horizon is better than Origins. Simply just for the fact that I enjoy boss fights and Horizon has one where Origins does not. And I also do just like the bows a bit more than the staffs. That's a very controversial take because most people would obviously say the staffs are way cooler and better. And I do know that they're better, obviously, than the bows, especially after all the nerfs to all the bows. But I just prefer using the bows than the staffs. I don't know, they just feel a bit cooler. I like the design on the bows a bit more. Not that I'm saying I hate the staffs, I still love the staffs to death. But this is a very hard choice to make, but honestly, most days I do prefer Horizon. And it's easier to boot up, especially since, honestly, I don't like buying old games just to have on my computer again. So like I don't have BO1 and 2 on my computer at the current moment, but just playing these on Xbox and stuff on my old consoles compared to Horizon when I can boot up pretty much almost anywhere and anytime. I think it's above Origins and Chino. Darius, it says Black Ops 1, but I'm probably gonna do all of them together. Darius, I think, is also an S tier. I do think it's below Chino. Unfortunately, Darius is obviously where the zombies community thrived from, obviously. And honestly, without Darius, we wouldn't have these other maps. So I am always thankful for Darius, and it's still one of the funner maps to come back to. It's probably the most fun World at War map, for sure, 100%, because of Pack-a-Punch and all the revolutionary things that came from Darius. And you're probably thinking already, since the beginning of this tier list, why is there so much in S? Well, you know, why is there's so much in S, nothing in B and C? Well, it's because, unfortunately, we started off the list wrong. So that's unfortunately why. But I promise you, I'm not super biased towards zombies. I think everyone is every single one is a goated map, and I'm not gonna put 10 million things in S. I'm putting what I think, for me, is the greatest of all time. These are maps that I play regularly, all the time. Doesn't matter when, where, how. These are the best. I honestly do think though. So if it's replayable, iconic, has good charting, everything, it's just good. It's just overall good. There's at one point where I'm like, oh, someone says I want to play Origins, I don't even make a frowny face or a stall face. I will be happy because these are great maps. Same with Ancient Evil. It's almost a fantastic map. Most people do not prefer this one, but I love it. But I promise you, they're not all gonna be S, okay? I swear, guys, please. Alright, Chino Numa. I think this is an easy C tier for me. A lot of people dog on Chino Numa, a little too much in my honest opinion. Oh, here's the World at War 1, I'll put that one there as well. And if I see the Chronicles one, I'll put it here. Actually, let's just take the Chronicles off. I don't like doing these. I don't like the Chronicles taking up extra slots. So actually, let's just take these off. This is kind of annoying. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, this looks way better. Well, I'd say, except for that. Okay, so we'll just have the Chronicles maps here. If we see another Chronicles, we'll fix it. So what I had Darius, right? Yeah, Darius. Okay, that's up here. Okay, there we go. That looks a lot better. You guys are probably like, phew, thank God. Thank God he finally fixed the tier list, guys. Sorry. But, okay, we fixed it. Now let's carry on. Shadows of Evil is the most overhyped map, in my honest opinion. I am so sorry. BO3 people are probably pissing at the screen right now, probably wanting to shoot me, is their first initial thought. But I do not think Shadows is even an S tier or an A tier. I think it's just a good map. Now, let me obviously explain myself before I get bloody murdered on the screen, because they're like, you put Chino Numa in the Reese above Shadows of Evil. What is wrong with you, man? What are you doing? But take this into account, guys. I am mostly a single player guy. I'm a solo player most of the time. I do play with other people most of the time, all the time. But when I just want a fun, casual zombies experience, I don't play with randoms. I most of the time don't play with like other people and look for other people online. I usually either play with friends, but most of the time I play by myself. And Shadows of Evil, in my honest opinion, is not a super duper good map to play solo. That's just what I think. It's more of a hassle than it is fun. The Wonder Weapon is just a bit boring in my honest opinion. The Apothecon Servant is not really fun to look at or use. It's more or less just a giant Gersh device, but alien sex baby gun thing. It's very weird Cthulhu gun. It's just okay. The map design is fantastic. I will give Shadows of Evil that. This is why it's a B. It's still a good map, even though everyone says it's the best map of all time. I just can't agree. I just can't agree. The Easter egg, you can't even do it solo. You literally need to do it with co-op, which is very sad for me, just because I would prefer to do it solo. I really do. If you could, it maybe even would have gotten an A, but because you can't do it solo, it doesn't make much sense as a solo player to even play this map, because you're just going for high rounds, and you're like, well, that's a bit hypocritical. You put Chino and Reese, and that's all you do on these maps. And I guess you're right to a degree. It's just because I more or less started with these maps that they're probably at a higher standard, but it's also just I prefer the BO1 weapons to BO3, and that's my honest opinion. And I think the layout of Chino is easier, simpler, more fun, more replayable than Shadows. Doing the pack steps every single time is just a bit tedious in my honest opinion. It's just a bit much, especially as a solo player. There's a lot of doors to buy, there's a lot of running around, there's a lot of lockdowns you gotta do to even get pack punch. It's a bit much. It just really is. The sword, I will give, is really cool, and as that as the Wonder Weapon, it's okay. I think people overhype the Apothecon a lot. It's a great Wonder Weapon. I mean, obviously, in terms of strength, it's overpowered and super duper strong. But in terms of creatively, it's not very creative, in my honest opinion. But that's what puts Shadows at a B for me. Alright, after the millions of death threats I just received, let's move on to Blood of the Dead. Let me get a drink here. Sorry. Alright. Alright. Blood of the Dead is the next one. Now, people are probably going to be surprised by this one, or not so surprised, depending who you are. If Mr. T saw this tier list, he'd probably kill me. I'm putting Blood of the Dead at a C. Now, people are probably up and furious. They're probably like, how the hell? They're probably saying, typing right now, Kato, how the hell is Blood of the Dead C? Blood of the Dead is awful. There is nothing likable about Blood of the Dead, and especially if you compare it to Mob of the Dead, Blood of the Dead is a piece of shit. And I agree, for the most part. Blood of the Dead is a complete failure compared to Mob of the Dead. But I never looked at Blood of the Dead as a true remaster. Unfortunately, as soon as I saw gameplay and I saw there was new parts of the map, I pretty much failed all hope for it to be a complete remaster of Mob of the Dead. Once I got that out the way, my expectations were a bit lower. And coming from a just normal standpoint, I don't think Blood of the Dead was actually that bad. In all honesty. Especially as an OG player, because I know most of the original map, obviously, it's my favorite map. So it was nice getting back into something I was used to. It was just a nice breath of fresh air to not have to learn a complete new map, kind of. Yeah, a little bit. Have new mechanics on it, but not really completely learn a whole brand new map. Just a couple new areas and such. And I do think the Blundergat was really fun to use on BO4. It's the only map you can do it on. And I do prefer the lava to acid gat, but that is just me. I think the lava gat was a nice addition, and it's a really fun weapon to use. It's a very cool addition to it. In terms of Easter egg, of course the Easter egg is awful, but I'm not a super big Easter egg guy. I just like high rounds, and I do find high rounds on Blood of the Dead is quite fun because of the lava gat. The lava gat is super fun weapon to use, and having the Hell's Retriever back is just really fun and nice. It is just an overall good feeling in my opinion. Also, I do prefer the Blood of the Dead shield compared to the original Mob of the Dead shield. Not saying the original one is bad, but I do like the design and the features of the Blood of the Dead shield. It's a very good shield. It looks very cool, and I love the key mechanic in place of the afterlife. But that's just me. In terms of Easter egg, yeah, it's very bad. The cutscenes are beautiful, fantastic cutscenes. Overall, the boss fight, lame. That's why it's a C, in my honest opinion. The high rounds and the weapons and the side Easter eggs, fantastic. In terms of Easter egg, it falls completely flat, in my opinion. So that is why it's a C. It's just an average, okay map. Okay, Descent. I don't know how the fuck people like Noah J and people put this map so goddamn high, but this is a lackluster map. I am sorry. It's not that I'm an Exo Zombies hater, it's just more or less I find Exo Zombies just falls flat in a lot of the, well, just all of the departments. The replayability is not there at all. There's almost no fun in the Easter egg whatsoever. The blunderbuss is an alright weapon, and the trident is a very weak, weird wonder weapon. Fighting Oz as the final EE was just very sad, boring, and weird. The lore behind all Exo Zombies was very bad, because they tried a super serious, lore-heavy subject, and most people just didn't care about those characters whatsoever. If anything, they did do a good job of making Oz kind of like the main character. That was like the only character people seemed to care about, but then they killed Oz off and made him a bad guy. It's very strange. It's just like if Richtofen was the main character of this cast for so long, and then they make him out to be the final boss. He's secret last evil thing you fought, and then you kill him, and then you're like lost him forever. It just felt really weird, felt really flat, and the map design on this is really bad. And there's even Easter egg steps where you do parkour and stuff. It's unique, I'll give it that. It's just not very strong at all. And the Exo Zombies, I never like super was in love with Exo Zombies. So this map Descent is just not very good. Ooh, very controversial take, but I think Zombies in Spaceland is an S tier map. By far. It's not even close, to be honest. And where do I rank Zombies in Spaceland? Do I think it's better than the Reese? No. Do I think it's better than Chino? No. Do I think it's better than Origins? No. I do think Zombies in Spaceland is just barely an S, but holy shit is Zombies in Spaceland such a good, fantastic map. This is one of the best non-Treyarch maps I've ever seen, and it's probably the best we're ever gonna get, unfortunately, because most non-Treyarch Zombies maps have fallen really flat, and now even Zombies Treyarch maps are falling really flat. So Jim Ross, or what's his name? Lee Ross, Jim Ross, I'm so sorry, Lee Ross, please. Lee Ross is one of the best creative workers in the Zombies team, dev, who's passionate, I've ever seen. And the story behind it was pretty good, actually, and it has things the community's been wanting for so long, but yet the maps fall a little flat, but people lose hope. But then you got to the Mephistopheles EE, and then people were like, never mind, Lee Ross is awesome. It's a bit sad to see. Very sad. Because Zombies in Spaceland is one of the best. The rides are fantastic. The EE is nice and simple, but not too easy. The boss fight's quite hard, but it's fun to do. Double packing after you beat the Easter egg is just a really fun little cool thing you added in just to be cool. There's a lot of cool side Easter eggs. It's a nice big large open map. It's just a fantastic map in all the departments. The wonder weapons are fantastic. I love the plasma pistols, like the face melter's really fun, and the fucking Discord is one of the best. It's just overall one of the best, honestly. I do believe it deserves S. You're like, most people probably think, oh, it should go A tier. No, I think Zombies in Spaceland is fantastic. Darkest Shore. Thinking of bad maps, this is an F tier. Sorry, World War II Zombies lovers or any World War II devs. This map is fucking awful. This is the worst experience in DLC I've ever paid for. It is just so lacklusterly bad. The map design is awful. The Easter egg was awful. The wonder weapon was awful. There's literally nothing about it good about Darkest Shore, except for the fact that you see all gray. So if you wanted to see a map that was covered in grayness and you couldn't see anything, Darkest Shore is for you. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Darkest Shore. The Tortured Path. Not much better. I think it deserves a D tier. It's a bit lackluster, definitely better than the Darkest Shore and Bus Depot for sure. This is, again, World War II Zombies fell really flat for me. I do think it is better than the Scent. Honestly, I would rather play Verruckt than the Tortured Path, but that's not saying by much. These are pretty equal. I kinda hate them. Speaking of maps I hate, Voyage of Despair, an atrocity and an F tier and deserves nowhere else. Unfortunately, 9 and Blood of the Dead are like okay, and 9's fantastic. This is definitely the ugly, fugly one of the triplets, if you know the metaphor I was going for, or the thing I was trying to say. It's like the ugly one out of the 3 kids you have, like the triplets. It's the ugly one. It has so rough around all the edges. It's such a beautiful looking map, but playing this thing is a chore. There is nothing fun about this map, unfortunately. The Kraken is one of the weirdest looking. It looks like a modded weapon into an official map. It doesn't even look like the final wonder weapon of a map. The Easter egg was so random and weird and abysmal, shooting random things in the sky. Like, what is going on there? That is disgusting. Unfortunately, Voyage of Despair is just bad. Looks fantastic, and I'm sure a lot of work went into this map, but just replayability, this is one of the worst. Especially the water. The water killed it for me. It's so bad. Alright. We're kind of zooming through this, kind of. Buried, I think is an A tier for sure. I do not think Buried is an S tier, because, of course, it's too easy. People are going to be mad at me for that. But I honestly do believe it deserves A tier. Is it better than Ancient Evil? Honestly, it depends on my mood, but I'm just going to put it behind Ancient Evil for right now. Buried is very, very good in all of the departments. Wonder Weapon, lore, final. Again, a really good finale map for the, what's the crew called? The transit crew. I forget their name. But the transit crew, you know what I'm saying. The main 4 you play in Transit and Die Rise and Buried. For a finale, this is one of the best. The Easter egg is fantastic, hard, challenging. It has 2 endings. It's very cool. Just a fantastic map by Jimmy Valinsky. One of the best he's ever made and probably will ever make. And one of the greatest Zombies maps of all time. Everyone likes the Paralyzer. Everyone likes this map. Fight me. Rosenhaus. I mean, like, what? What even is this? Oh, it's the little house map. It's F. It's almost a D tier, so it's gonna go up here. So pretty much how I'm doing this is like, the worst. And if it's close to F, that means it's almost ranking up a tier. So I guess it's the best out of F tier, like almost a D tier. but it's just really boring. There's not much to do on it. It's better than these other 3 maps, but not by much. Alpha Omega is very lackluster and is a D tier map, unfortunately. I never was a big fan of Nuketown Zombies anyways. I just like the multiplayer map. We don't need to make it a zombies map. We already have like 50 versions of Nuketown. We don't need it in zombies. Especially since it felt more like a modded map, except for modded maps actually made it a lot more fun and better and look prettier. Wow, fantastic. And you had to pay DLC for these maps, when unfortunately the modding community can just make those maps for free and they're twice as good. So yeah, honestly, there's not much to say. The Easter egg's really bad, and the OG crew, although I love them, didn't really fit the map at all, and all the lore behind this map just kind of felt flat, just because it felt really random. Especially since after all the budget cuts, it makes a lot more sense why it was like that now, because they couldn't make new unique maps. They kind of just had to make OG maps because of the budget. So it makes sense. It's a shame, but Alpha's a D. Noct is an C tier. I think it's the best of C tier, for sure. I mean, you can't really hate Noct. That's where everything started, and it's a nice little challenge map for sure. For sure, I love it as a challenge map. It's great. And people that hate on Noct, honestly, I just don't think understand what Noct even meant for the zombies community, and that's where it all started. So without it, you wouldn't have any other maps. So I feel like if you put it below C, you're just kind of insulting it, honestly. So it's the top of C, almost a B, which is a good map, because I still do occasionally play Noct. It's a good, nice little fun challenge map. That's why it's next to Chino. I find Chino a really fun, good, challenging map. And Bloods. Alright. Call of the Dead. Now, people might hate me, or understand where I'm coming from. Hopefully it's the understand where I'm coming from part. But let's just rank Call of the Dead. I think Call of the Dead is an S tier map. Yeah, I know. It's surprising. You put Call of the Dead over Origins? I did. I honestly did. I think it's one of the best maps of all time. For sure. 100%. Not even a question. I love Call of the Dead. George Romero is one of the best of all time, and if you hate George Romero, I will hate you and fight you. He's such a fun little boss. He's such a great actual human being, not alone as a character in the map. And having him in zombies, especially since he's the mastermind of so many good zombie things, you kind of have to pay respect to him by liking this map. Not only the Call of the Dead is one of the best layouts ever. Not only that, Treyarch was smart, and they added PhD to this map. And they made Jug really far away to not give babies easy baby mode. It has a super fun Easter egg, one of the coolest rewards for an Easter egg, by the way, in BO1. For sure. BO1 had the coolest Easter egg rewards, and you probably wouldn't even get perkaholics at the end of maps or extra perks if it wasn't for BO1, because they experimented with that shit all the time, and people loved it, and that's why they kept doing it. So without maps like these, you probably wouldn't get perkaholics all the time. Sip of my water. But yeah. I don't even need to explain myself. Call of the Dead is one of the best. Shut up. Stupid bitches. Go Rod is a tier. Not a B tier. A tier. I do think Buried in Ancient Evil is better, but it's an alright map. I don't love the Easter egg, and that's what gives it downgrades, but everything else is fantastic about the map, and we're gonna move on. Yeah, we're gonna rush through it a little bit faster. We're going a little slow. I mean, the Giant, it's a B tier. It's kind of like the Reese, but I find it a bit worse with the BO3 engine, honestly. But actually, I shouldn't even rank it, honestly. whatever. If I was ranking it, it would probably go B. I'm just gonna leave it out for now, though. Tag, I think it's a little too shitted on. I think it is a B tier. I think it's the top of B tier, almost an A tier. I love Tag. It's not as good as Call of Dead, of course, obviously, not even close. But I do actually like the Wonder Weapons a lot. I know a lot of people shit on them, obviously, especially like the Tundra gun. No one uses that shit. But I love the layout of the map, and it's probably one of the most beautiful maps. I don't think people actually give it credit for where credit is due. It's one of the most gorgeous looking maps I've ever seen in Zombies history, and probably ever. It just looks really beautiful, the sunlight and everything with the snow, and seeing the old original map, and even just doing the Easter egg, the ending, seeing everything dark is such a cool, unique idea. Yeah, I love it. It's great. Even Golden Pack Punch is nice, it's so good, and all the secret little Easter eggs, and it's just so good. I don't know why people hate on Tag so much, just because the EE ending, like, whatever, man. Die Rise, it's C. It's just okay. It's not very good, honestly. It's like the bottom of C, almost lackluster. It's just alright. Slicklifier honestly gives it a bunch of points and why it moved up. I'm not gonna talk about it much longer. Shaolin is a D map. Just it's very bad. It's the bottom of T, almost F. I almost prefer Groston House to Shaolin. It's unfortunate that the third map is probably my least favorite out of all of them, other than the Beast, I guess, from Beyond. And speaking of Beast from Beyond, we're gonna just easily put that in F tier. That shit sucks. Don't have to explain why. The only good thing from this is the bonus the final EE, or not EE, the final boss fight. That's literally the only good thing about Beast. Okay, Zetsubou, I think gets a lot of heat for some unknown reason. I think it's quite good. I think it's an A tier, actually. Yep, it's an A tier. I put it probably, yeah, bottom A tier. That's a good spot. Zetsubou got a lot of shit at the beginning. I don't think it deserves that much shit. It's a very good map. And there's not much else to say. It's just very good. Very big. The Wonder Weapon's great. People shit on that a little too much too. It has the Skull and Them Sopway, one of the coolest things. I thought planting was a bit tedious, but not too bad. And the spider boss fight's one of the best like mini boss fights we ever got. So suck my balls. Town. Town. I think it's a B tier. Yeah, B. I can't put it A with these great maps. It's great. I think it's better than Shadows. I don't think it's better than Tag, but Town's a classic, all-time classic. It's just a fun survival map, probably the best survival map. It's really good. Dead of Night gets a little shit on too much as well. I think it's a B tier behind Shadows. I think Shadows is better than Dead of Night, but I don't think Dead of Night's that bad. People give it a lot of shit. Don't know why. It's a really great map for co-op as well. Should really try it out. Very good, very good. Ascension, probably my least favorite BO1 map, but it's still going C tier. It's alright. I think it's better than Die Rise. Obviously better than Below the Dead. Better than Chino. I think I prefer Knocked. Yeah, it's a good spot. Ascension's really good. For like an average map. It's still my least favorite because of the lunar landings and the Easter egg was really weak, but I love BO1 weapons and stuff, so that's what carries it so high. If it was in another game, I probably wouldn't even like it that much. Raven the Redwoods, I think also gets a lot too much shit because it was being compared to Spaceland, which is one of the best maps. Obviously not as good, but I think it's a good map. Now, Rave or Dead of the Night, that is the question. I think I do prefer Rave. I just played it a bit more than Dead of the Night, but I think this is a good spot for Rave. Very good. Frozen Dawn is a fucking dog shit map. I'm not explaining why. It's just really fucking bad. World War II zombies, just very bad. Frozen Dawn sucks balls. Infection also sucks balls. I don't know how Noaj even put this above F. No one plays this shit. This shit is absolutely ass. Even if I did get first in the world on the EE on this bullshit, you couldn't pay me to play this map. This map is so boring, incredibly bad. Literally escort missions from Assassin's Creed and the Zombies map Jesus fucking Christ, it's really bad. Classified. It's C. It's right there, in the middle of C. It's alright. I definitely prefer 5 over classified, so we will get to that in a second. Shadow Throne is a D. I think it's behind Shaolin. I'd rather play Shaolin. Shadow Throne is obviously better than the Frozen Dawn, but not by much. Maybe I'm mixing this up. Wait, which one's the Shadow Throne? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Have I ranked the other World War II maps? Have I ranked them all? Am I tripping? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Actually, never mind. Let's just put it F. It's very bad, actually. I'm not risking it. Fuck World War II zombies, man. It's just very bad. Or is that the Tortured Path? No, I think the Tortured Path was the good one. If these are the two I'm thinking of, like this is the challenge one, right? The Frozen Dawn is the challenge one, right? Whatever the challenge one is, like F tier. These two I remember not being very good. Tortured Path was okay. Whatever. I'm getting confused trying to think of what's actually what. D Machine is really actually great. I love D Machine. Cold War mechanics make it better than what I originally thought it was going to be, and it was fun for a while. It's still a good map to come back to. Alright, cool. Farm is very underwhelming, but it is not F tier. It's like, I think it's the best of D tier. I just love Grief. That's why it's so high. If you're wondering, Grief's really fun. Shangri-La is an average map, not any higher, not any less. It's actually the bottom of C. It's not much to say about it. I don't like it on solo. Obviously, why? It doesn't even feel like a solo map. It's just not very fun. The baby gun is like probably the best feature about it. The monkeys are super annoying, and the mini bosses suck massive balls. It's a beautiful map, though. One of the most beautiful. It just sucks that it sucks playing on it. Okay, let's go on. Attack of the Radioactive thing. I think it's a little too much shit, but it does kind of suck. It's the bottom of C tier for sure. It's just not very good. The black and yellow, the black and white is just way worse than even Ascension was, and I still hate it in Ascension, and I still hate it in this map. Elvira is pretty hot, so at least there's that, but in terms of gameplay, it's kind of weak, but the boss fight is very interesting and cool. I do like that probably the most, and the wonder weapon's alright. So it deserves C, I think, almost D. Moon is one of my favorite maps. It's actually the top of A tier, almost S tier. I fucking love everything about Moon. Almost everything. The only issue I have is the excavator, and the EE takes a lot of RNG. But other than those two things, if those two things didn't exist, honestly, I think Moon would be easy S tier. 100%. One of the most iconic Easter egg endings of all time. Such a unique, different map. In Chronicles, they made it look really good, but I prefer the BO1 weapons. That's just me. I just think Moon's fucking really good. And funny enough, I think 9 is actually really, really good. I think it's better than Ancient Evil. I think it's not as good as Moon, though. I do love 9. Almost a S tier map as well. Don't think I need to explain why. Very simple, very easy map layout, Easter eggs, super fun, and it probably worked the best with BO4 mechanics. That's my honest opinion. It's just really good. 5, really good. It's A tier. I think it's above D Machine. I love the gameplay of 5. It is such an iconic map. People pretty much remember the intro to 5, and you cannot tell me otherwise. It's so fucking good, man. Although the Winter's Howl is a bit weak, it's such a unique and different gun that it's still fun to use, and it had bonfire sales, so if you're wondering where that came from, thanks 5. Bonfire sales is when you kill the Pentagon thief before he steals your gun, and you can pack punch your weapon for 1,000 points. Very cool. It was also one of the only BO1, as I said, BO1 experimented a lot with unique ideas, and this clearly shows it was one of them. It was such a cool little thing. Most maps don't do that, so I love it. I love that for that. Revelations, very good actually. Bottom of A tier, better than the Machine. I don't think, probably better than 5. Yeah, I love 5, but I think Revelations is better. Revelations is just all the best parts of all these old maps, and just put all together. So I can't really say much bad about it, except for the Easter egg is a bit, it's a bit tedious, but it's still really fun, really good. Alright, moving on. Nuketown. Nuketown kinda sucks. Big balls. It's going D tier. It's very lackluster. Don't know how people like this. Very boring. It's literally just Nuketown zombies, but with an element that perks drop in randomly and pack punch drops in randomly, and it's very not cool at all. There's like no Easter egg either. Outbreak zombies. It's average. It's just average. I like Exo zombies, but it's definitely the best out of all the Exo zombies, I think for sure, but it's average. Carrier. You go right behind Descent. You are not good. Fuck. I don't even want to explain why Exo zombies just sucks, man. Transit is easy F. I think it's the worst. Yeah, fuck Transit. Firebase C is very bad. It deserves D tier. Mauer de Toten is A tier. Yep. B tier. Better than these two. Not better than the Shadows. I think Mauer is one of the better maps for sure. Would I even put D Machine A? Yeah, I do prefer D Machine over Mauer, although I think Mauer is like very close. I do like Mauer though. It is quite good. Wonder Weapon stuff on it. It's very cool, and it's probably one of the most iconic EE endings for Cold War. And that's saying quite a bit because Cold War doesn't have iconic EEs at all. What's the last one I'm missing here? Forsaken. It was C. I think more or less top of C. Yeah. Fell flat compared to the other two in my opinion, but Forsaken's really fun to grind. So there's that, and Durham Fang is probably the worst zombies map of all time. That shit sucks. And that's it. That's my whole tier list. I just wanted to get this on the channel so you guys know I'm doing content sometimes. I'm gonna be trying to do more streams on my Twitch channel. Wondering what my Twitch channel's called? It's just called Old Fashioned Kato. No capitals on Twitch. I will be very soon streaming quite a bit